Neha Ji, the program coordinator. Warmly welcome you all to the Faculty Development and Training Program on Innovative Teaching and Learning Pedagogy. This initiative has been made possible through the collaborative efforts of the Research Foundation of India, RFI-CARE, HMR Institute of Technology and Management in association with Shodh Malwa, and VPIT, along with the generous sponsorship from Eklav University, JHRF, ARGA, and Edu Academic Inc. Together, we embark on this educational journey to foster innovation in teaching and learning practices. Now, it's my privilege to introduce our distinguished expert for today, Dr. Shesht Chabra sir, a luminary in the field of education. Welcome, sir. With
Thank you,
more
Neha,
than
ma'am. Thank you very much.
with more than 2 decades of teaching experience, he brings an exceptional wealth of knowledge and insight to these programs. His academic journey, crowned with a PhD in labor welfare, exemplifies his dedication to scholarship and research. Currently serving as an associate professor at Delhi College Business School Indore, his work extends far beyond academia. As a prolific author and reviewer, his contributions resonates on both national and international platforms, shaping discourse and driving meaningful change. His affiliations with esteemed journals and editorial boards reflect his unwavering commitment to excellence. Additionally, his mentorship and coordination of entrepreneurial initiatives highlight his passion for fostering academic growth. He has been widely recognized for his exemplary leadership, receiving accolades from prestigious organizations such as the Rotary Club, Amity Business School, and EMG SSM Trust. His stellar record as a session chair and facilitator further underscores his ability to inspire and guide. And we are truly honored to have Dr. Chabra sir with us today to share his knowledge on the theme Case Study Method for Better Teaching. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Neha, ma'am. Thank you for your kind words. It's actually an honor to be, with my all respected colleagues from different parts of this country who have joined us today. Thanks to, my RFI family, Saurabh Jain sir, Ajay Jain sir, and a special thanks to Neha ma'am also for, for her all kind words that she has spoken for me. Uh, so, I welcome every one of you on. Today, I would be talking to you on case study. I'm pretty sure that case study is something that is not new to you. I would like to make it an interactive type of a session so that for another hour, which I would be speaking to you, probably let's interact rather than, creating a monologue type of thing. So, but, obviously the choice is yours. And I would like to start with a simple idea. Um, my student keep telling me this idea that before COVID, things were pretty, hard. That bunking a class actually was a hard type of a thing. You have to actually, run away. You have to hide behind a pillar. You have to do efforts to, so that the teacher doesn't see you, and you can be yet, and sitting in canteen or someplace. Post COVID, COVID and post COVID, things are being simple thanks to technology that we developed during the COVID, that you and me are interacting, sitting at your place comfortably, you and me are interacting on this. But this has got an different idea also, that you can switch off your audio, switch off my audio also, uh, switch off your video, and you can be anywhere in this world, okay, and still be attending the class. So though I do understand that that idea, that after a day long of work, but I appreciate this idea that after a day long of work, you all are here with us through this RFI platform to probably to to enhance yourself, and that's the spirit that I like the most about that. All my faculty colleagues, after I can understand, you might have you're sparing to your valuable time for us, so I do appreciate that. So another 1 hour wherein we would be interacting with each other. So please be participative as much as you can, as much your time permits to you can be. So please be participative. One, two, you have got this hand raise type of a thing. So if you want to say something, if you want to interact with me on something, please raise your hand and please feel free to speak or to write in a chat box. Once you have spoken, I would request you to please lower down your hand so that things get clear. So, if I'm not wrong, I'm interacting with my colleagues. Most of you are faculties, or almost all of you are faculties, if I'm not wrong. Most of you are faculties.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. We are all
Great.
faculty.
Great. Great. Great.
Sir.
That's great. Great. Thank you very much for your response. With this idea that you all are faculties, let's start with this session today, and it would be more of an experience type of sharing sessions rather than anything to do with I'm pretty sure that one second, please, one second. I'm pretty sure that since you are a faculty, case studies are something which are not new for you. You have been dealing with case studies um, on and off, and you might have dealt it with at various point of time in your career also. So, so what essentially I would be doing rather than trying to teach you, what I would be sharing more of my experiences, and I would welcome your experiences all together. That if you can, it's a shared learning platform. Please remember this thing. So there is no expert. Though Neha ma'am, talks me as an expert. There is no expert in this idea. Okay? It's just that I may have dealt with one method or the other, and you might be dealing with some other method. But that's the only difference. So I always feel enriched once after my sessions that people share their ideas of things. Some ideas you may feel that okay, I already am doing this. Some ideas I would be very happy that if all of us can have a shared idea or a shared vision of how we can do better things for students, because that's how we you and me both exist. So uh, let's start with this idea. When I talk to you about, uh, I share my ideas on to how on case studies. Okay, so essentially, what we are talking about is the idea that irrespective of this is the larger flow of my program for the day. This is what I would be largely talking to you. So essentially, what would happen that if you're talking about a case study, then I would start with two different ideas, irrespective of the field that we come from, or the irrespective of the field that we hail from. In any faculty that we come through, uh, we would like to inculcate these two habits pertinently in our students. One, that they are more what should I say? They are more inclined toward this idea of that are they able to think for themselves. Okay, so as they grow up, we would like them to become more individual, more responsible, not only responsible but responsible. Okay, they can respond in a better way to situations, and whatever outcome, largely if you look into our lives, whatever outcome we have been or we are through or we have achieved in our life, to a larger extent it's an idea that we have we are there today because of our decisions. So decision making is a very critical idea in life, because at any given point of time or in at any given point of time in your life, you have to take a decision. Okay, Meera ma'am has raised the hand. Yes, please tell me. Meera Varghese ma'am, you want to say something? Mira Varghese ma'am, you have raised your hand. You want to say something? Okay, I believe it's an accidental raise. So not an issue. Um, so maybe Meera ma'am would speak to us at a later stage. Or so I was telling you that that we need to develop an idea of decision making. Okay, and we need to add this flair of real life situations. So for these two ideas, case studies become a very important thing, that how we can introduce our students not only to a real world, but we can tell them that okay, this is what happens in theory, this is what happens in a practice, and that's how, and that's where the case studies can be useful. So you have to take your decision, good or bad, that's a different situation. Okay, that's a different idea, but you have to take a decision. And when you are taking a decision, you have to consider all alternatives. So that's where a critical thinking. Have you evaluated all decisions, the pros and cons of every decision, and if you have arrived at a decision, that's where a case study probably would be more useful in for students. So, with this opening thought on case studies, let's talk about the case. Can be the different case type? I'm pretty sure you might have gone through this case types. So, can somebody help me with this thing? Somebody would like to contribute? Which all cases you have gone through of the entire list which is displayed now on your screen? Which all cases have you gone through, or which all types of cases have you dealt with in your class? Anyone, please? Anyone would like to contribute? Which all cases have you dealt with? Like, which all types of cases have you spoken about? I believe the list is fairly simple. So if I can have some responses coming in. Anyone would like to contribute? Yes, please go ahead. I believe Deepika ma'am was to say something. So we have decided to make it a monologue types. Is that so? So have we decided to make it a monologue? That only I should be speaking? Anyone who would like to contribute, or shall I continue it as a monologue? Expecting that everyone is video off, audio off, and then you can be anywhere in this world. Okay, fair enough. So I continue with with this idea that probably people have got their own schedules to talk about. Okay, then fair enough. So let's not disturb then. Okay, so closed-ended cases are more of this idea that wherein you would find that the question there is there is a question at the end of uh, there is a question at the end of the case. It's more like a generalized idea that which students take it that more it that way, that they would they would take it more as this idea that it's more of an unseen type of a passage. Okay, though I would though I am continuing, but I would have definitely liked an interaction. if we people would have interacted, then probably things would have done better. Nonetheless, I would try my level best to deliver what I am supposed to. So in a closed-ended cases, you would find that things are not there are a set of question answers, so things become easy. So that's the reason I said most of the students take it as a type of unseen passage type of things, or it can be an open-ended cases. In an open-ended cases, you have to actually find out an issue. Okay, so you have to actually identify an issue. So if you are going through a Harvard business case study or many of the Ivy League business case studies, so you are not given any set of question answer types. So you have to actually identify question answer set towards the end of this thing, and that becomes a challenge. That first you have to identify a problem, and then you have to actually solve the problem types. So open-ended cases are more challenging as far as from a student perspective is concerned. So you can have a bigger cases, flowing more than one pages types, or you can have couple of paragraphs. Okay, where you can actually using a couple of paragraph to or maybe a small paragraph as a case. Yes, Suranjita ma'am has, or a person named Suranjita has raised a hand. Yes, you want to say something?
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, ma'am. Good evening.
Sir, I'm Dr. Suranjita Muni, and I am working in a teacher training institute
Great, ma'am.
and B.Ed college. Yes, I'm
Okay,
teaching to B.Ed and M.Ed students.
great.
Yes, sir. So in our syllabus, there
Mm-hmm.
the teacher trainees, they are
Hmm.
supposed to do a case study, but
Okay.
case study on a student.
Hmm.
So who are the students? The students who are who create mischievous act in
Hmm.
the
Hmm. Hmm.
classroom,
Hmm.
or the
Hmm. Hmm.
students
Hmm.
who remain drop out, or who remain absent in the class for a longer period of time, or the
Okay.
students who are having lower academic achievement. So they
Achievements.
do a
Okay.
case study. They
Hmm.
do in-depth study related to that particular case. That means
Okay.
they collect detailed data, the data about their parents, their socioeconomic background,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
after collecting data from the teachers, from the peers, from the students, they come to conclusion what are the reason behind which the student is behaving in that particular manner.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
this is there in our syllabus, sir.
Great. Great. Great, ma'am. Thanks for your contribution, ma'am. I would be coming to. I would be picking up your point, Muni ma'am, towards the end when I would talk about that how one can develop a case study. So thanks for your input in that, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
So if you are looking in from this thing, if I quickly pick from your point, there can be a success failure type of a case, and I personally believe that the people learn more from failures than from success. So if you're teaching, like say you made a very valid point that students who are maybe a type of some students who are a difficult type of students, or who are so they are facing some challenge. So what, for whatever the reason that challenge may be, now that becomes a case study. Okay, that how can you as a teacher, how can you overcome that challenge or things like that. So failure stories or failure things do teach you, I personally feel, because success stories are a different idea altogether. I'm not saying that you should only focus on the failures. Like say for example, if I would teach entrepreneurship, I would pick up if I'm to talk about 10 cases, I would pick up 7 failures and 3 successes. Okay, so that's how I would create, because I personally believe that failures can teach you far more better. What not to do in life is more important than what to do in life. So even if you get that idea that what not to do, things can become easier for that, for any in any field of study. So probably in that way, Muni ma'am, that things can be taught in a better way, that how experiences wherein students, how how different faculties or different teachers, while during their training, they face difficulties, and how they overcome those difficulties, or how that difficulties can be overcome. Probably that is something which a course, a teacher training course can train them. Obviously real life situations would be a different idea
Absolutely
altogether.
right, sir.
So, absolutely brilliant idea, ma'am. Thank you very much for your sharing. So, as I was telling you, that even small cases, okay, a paragraph written of cases can give you so in-depth ideas, and it can, spark a debate. Actually, a debate. I've seen in my many of my classes that it actually sparks on debate. So the length of cases are. It's not about the length of cases. Please understand this thing. It's not about the length, that how long is your case. No, the idea is that people shed away from reading long cases. Please understand this thing. You are dealing with a generation wherein, in a WhatsApp message, if it is said read more, so they won't read it, and they would reply to you, who sends these long messages? So, three paragraphs are a different idea. Okay. So that's the reason I'm telling you that, uh, a caselet, if I'm not suggesting that, reduce the number of pages. No, please pick up the cases very carefully, irrespective of the length of the case. So don't be motivated by the length of the case, that, if it is 5 pages long, 10 pages long. And if actually you are, if say, yeah, I told you that if you are picking up a Harvard case or something like that, then please give it in a group. This has been my experiences. I'm just telling you things based on, it's not a prescription, please. It's on an, it's just a piece of advice. It's just a suggestion to you that if you're picking up grade, or if you're picking up people from, what should I say, if you're picking up a larger case study, then please pick it up from an idea that things can be done differently, or give it to a group. Why a group? One reason, probably, one would motivate other types of reading to, many cases the person may not be able to handle that level of case all alone. So at least, they can be joining in with someone. Okay, so they can be joining in with someone, and that, all things put together, can be a different idea types. Okay, so you push me, I push you types. So at least, one person in the group would have some idea of the cases, or you can distribute that thing, that, okay, you read the first page, you read the second page, something like that. We'll be talking more on that thing. So, don't be, my point is simple, don't be motivated by the length of the case, be motivated by the content and what you are essentially trying to draw out from the case. What inferences, what exactly are you learning from the cases? Focus on that, rather than just focusing on that, the length of the case. And please, give that students this idea also. So, as I told you, we are already talked about a success failure type of a thing. So, if you're teaching a course like Suranjita ma'am talked about the teacher training, or if you're talking about a course like entrepreneurship, or anywhere courses wherein failures, you can pick up some failed theories, or failed brands, or something like that thing. That would talk a different ideology. You can be very functional specific. You can give a case study based on your entire area, maybe, a very prescribed area. Same, for example, in management, you can talk marketing, you can talk human resources, finances. So you can be very area specific type of a case study. Or if, say, when we in management, when we talk generally about, say, business strategy, then we give them a larger understanding of multifunctional case study types, which covers some part of various areas. See, if you're talking project management to them, then obviously you need to talk not only the technical part. You may choose to talk only the technical part, because if you're dealing only with the technical thing, then only choose the technical part in project. Or then, because project would involve not only technical, but various dimensions of project management can be taught to them. So you can pick up a multiple, based, again, based on the subject that you are talking to, based on, please make sure that the case study that you are picking up is highly relevant to the topic, the case, the objectives of the case are understood to the student, that why this case is being taken up, and they appreciate that, okay, this is how, uh, this is the theory that I was taught, and this is the, or these are the practical things that link back with the case. So, this connection of theory and practice or theories, learning through a case study should be very clear to the students. You can have a written case or you can have a video case. Okay. Video cases can, obviously, most of us follow the written case type of an understanding. I believe in most of the universities in which we teach, we would have an idea of written cases. But during your class sessions, you can use various multiple types of video cases. Okay. Now, what can be this video cases? Again, as I'm not picking up this. If you want to add to it, you are most welcome. Otherwise, I'm not going to ask you any question per se now. So, if you're looking into from a video case perspective, say for example, there are many documentaries which are available. Okay, there are. If you remember, Discovery picks shows up a program which is called as mega projects, big buildings or many things like that. So in that thing you would get, if you're teaching, again, I'm just giving you an idea. There are management based case studies, there are many other case studies which are available to you, okay, in the form of a video, in the form of a documentary types. Okay, so what would happen that, if I share my experience, so we would show a documentary to the kids, and they would have a type of workbook, okay, along with them. So there are already questions printed, like, say, what, it's as simple question as that, what is this case study based upon? Okay, and then they go into various type of details or various type of ideas. So so there are different questions. So based on your observations on the video cases, so some cases, some questions will be very direct, and some cases you have to observe and write types. Okay, so I remember I talked about critical thinking. So some cases you have to actually evaluate and write that whether this was right or not, or if you would have done been in this place, what would have done. So there are several video cases which are available, which are, a type of a ready-made type of a thing. Again, please understand that whether written or video, it should be relevant to what you are talking or what you are teaching. Okay. My experience again says that don't use much of a documentary types. It tends to become boring. Okay. You are talking to a generation which is more interested into reels and shorts. Okay, so they can't tolerate a video more than a few seconds or minutes maybe. So do you have something very specific to talk about, or are you using a combination of written and video, that if I can, I can jot down certain specific points when it comes to say a written case. So rather than giving them a full-fledged written case, I'm doing, I'm trying to give them a combination of written plus video types, that some part of this case is shown as the video, and maybe a part of it is given as written, maybe a page or so. So they would have both the flavors of this idea. So another idea, simple idea of being a video case, is that you can find applicabilities of movies. Okay, we are into, so you can look into this applications of movies, and in based on your particular subject. Okay, like say Lagan found its application in leadership lessons. So different professors have tried different types of movies to explain various concepts, or you can pick up few scenes from the movies, not the entire movie. Maybe you can pick up few scenes from the movie, edit it, and you can cut short the drama and edit it and show it in the class, to talk about that, how again, uh, theory and practice mingle. So would you like me to give you an example of how, and then talk about that, how a scene from a movie can be used to talk about maybe a concept in class? Shall I give you an example, or shall I continue this thing? Okay, Narmada ma'am says yes, please. Okay, one second, please. This is one movie I believe most of you might have watched. Okay, so let's
आई थी तुम्हारे घर उस रात, वेट करी थी कि तुम आओगे, और तुम कब आए? 2 दिन बाद, जब सब खत्म हो चुका था। कहाँ थे तुम 2 दिन तक? सो रहे थे?
प्रीति, उसे कोई आइडिया नहीं था कि तुम आई थी वो रात। मैंने रिसेंटली बताया उसको, तुम्हारा उस दिन फोन नहीं आया ना, तो वो साइक आउट होकर मॉर्फिन का इंजेक्शन लगा लिया, ओवरडोज हो गया था। इट वाज अ होपलेस सिचुएशन फॉर हिम दैट नाइट। सीधे 2 दिन के बाद उठा, और इस बीच में तुम्हारी शादी, उसकी भाई की शादी, सब कुछ एक साथ हो गया। जब होश में आया, आई टोल्ड हिम दैट यू आर गेटिंग मैरिड, एंड द नेक्स्ट मोमेंट ही वाज स्टैंडिंग राइट इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू। और इसके बाद इसके पापा ने भी इसको घर से निकाल दिया। अकेला रहता था, सिर्फ हॉस्पिटल का काम करता था बस। अभी रिसेंटली घर वापस शिफ्ट हुआ है अपनी दादी के डेथ के टाइम। ये सब मैं इसलिए बता रहा हूँ ताकि तुम्हें पता रहे, क्योंकि ये बताएगा नहीं तुम्हें। अभी तुम लोग बात करो, आई वोंट डिस्टर्ब यू।
one second, please. Okay, so yes, so I believe that you might have seen. This is not the first time that you might be seeing this movie scene. Might be okay from Kabir Singh. Uh, how can you use this if this is what the scene I have to use in my class? What do you think would be a relevant topic to use? Yes, please. Anyone? What do you think that if I have to use this scene? My focus in this scene was on the friend of Kabir Singh, beautifully portrayed. Okay, he explains. If you might have seen the movie, he explained the entire situation which might have happened. Okay, in that maybe in almost a minute or so. Okay, where do you feel that I can, if I have to pick up this scene, which part of or which study I can use it? Can I use it in communication? If I'm talking to that, you should be very precise. You should be communicating with, remember those 7 C's of communication. So if I have to talk with in a very concise and a clear manner, does this example fits in there? Okay, where else I can talk about this? That how, how see, I'm not talking any sociology or something, that I'm not talking in general parlance that how a friend should be like. I'm not focusing on that. My focus area is that, how that communication, if you so he said, made it point clear that, now I won't disturb you, you can go ahead and talk to each other, but I'm telling you this thing. So at times management would give you another, 1 minute to speak, and in 1 minute you have to tell them what has actually happened. People mostly they do away with this basically, actually, sir, and things like that. So I hope you're getting my point. Yes, that in 1 minute, or maybe, things like that. How exactly, Sonia ma'am? That how in a minute or so you can, unfold the entire story. You can tell them the entire story effectively, that what has exactly happened in this entire period of time. That's how, you can pick up scenes from movies. There are n number of movies which you can link based on the course that you are talking about. Um, Again, ranging from documentaries to movie scenes like this, so people can connect with it faster. Young people can connect with it faster. My idea is not telling you that, you show movies in your things. No, if you're talking, say, consumer behavior, maybe show advertisements. If you're talking about marketing or any ideas in marketing, or if you're talking communication, you can show communication. Even if you're talking, say, if you come from a legal background, you're talking competition act, or you're talking, say, consumer protection act, you can give them this sort of thing, that, this is what was challenged in the court. and why this was challenged. So have a look at this. Okay. So that's what I'm saying, that how effectively you can use, irrespective of that, whether it is written or video, how effectively you can use a case, that is what would matter to you. uh, Not many cases, but some cases would offer you the next choice, that you can present to them a problem in part one, and then present the solution once they have discussed the problem and things like that. Then actually present them the solution, that what would happen, say, in part B or part two, what is the story in part two. Okay. So that is what would happen in a part one part two type of a combination types. Not many cases would, again, my point is, not many cases would give you this problem solution types. What we have even tried is that uh, I picked up a problem from an entrepreneur or a startup company. This was a restaurant guy. So he was trying to start up his restaurant. His restaurant existed before COVID also. So see that, he opened up a restaurant. COVID happened. So everything was, shifted on to, so for much time it was all closed. So when unlocking started happening, so he started making, a cloud kitchen type of a thing. Um, Now he's in a tangle, that what should I do? Like, should I move ahead with? I have got these plans of opening a restaurant, so I should even that thing. I'm sorry with my throat. Please excuse me with that. So should I continue with my cloud kitchen idea, or should I actually transform myself from a, or should I continue transform from a cloud kitchen to my original plan of restaurant? Should I continue it as a both? Okay. So I took this problem. I took, I'm just trying to make it a short type of a discussion. So he has given us many inputs on that thing. So I took this data from him, including his menu and things like that, and I showed it to the class, that this is an entrepreneur who is doing this type of thing. What is your idea on this thing? So whatever they suggested, I went back and told to him that, okay, these are the suggestions. Try, see and try if you can, try and see if you can implement any of this. So he implemented some of them, and then after, say, 2 months or 3 months, what were the results? So that was communicated back to the class. Or at one point of time, he was there himself to listen to this live discussion of the class, as to what problems or what dimensions of the problem class is talking about, and how they can, how that can be linked back to uh, what has been his solution types. So he was present himself in the class, and then he went on to narrate his part of the story, that, okay, this is what has actually happened, and to what extent students were right in their analysis, and what has he done to overcome that type of. So you can always link back that problem solution type of a thing. So that would become another type of analysis for students, because they would have a so-called uh, answer to their queries right there. Okay. So that can be another mode of case study, or you can pick up characters from the case study and you can create a role play from them. My I would suggest only two things. One, don't try to overuse any one method. Okay, so use a combination, again, based on the course that you are teaching. Use a combination of methods from different flavors of so that you can add a different flavor to your teaching. So maybe you use a combination of this thing. And again, my idea is that people generally resist a larger you won't get too good results on a very lengthy type of a case study. So if you can reduce the perceptual length of the case, maybe by printing on both sides also. Even that is also, I've tried that also. -1 also I've tried that. I've reduced the font size by -1. Uh, by at this age, people can read it better types. So just to reduce that perception, don't try to punish the students, of course, but try and reduce the perceptual length if you can of the case study, so that ultimately our goal of that student should learn from this thing, that can be done on this thing. So mostly what, again, as I told you, I'm not trying to do with the do's and don'ts. Please understand this thing. My idea to talking to you, I already, along with my case types, I've given you some idea onto that thing. I want spend more time trying to tell you some do's or don't types. But again, at times try different methods. Like say at times give them a case. The first thing, try and identify a case in advance. I believe most of you would be doing a lesson plan type of a thing. So try and identify a case well in advance, that okay, this is what would go with my thing. Okay, that this is a case I have identified which would go with this topic, or maybe after the end of this unit I would be talking this case. So identify the cases beforehand. So once you start with the topic, give them the case, so that during the discussion they can start with understanding this theory. The second idea can be, I mean, I'm just trying to give you alternatives. You can pick up based on your choices. The second alternative can be that you can start with a case, opening case type, that you can narrate them the case, and then uh, based on that case discussion, now the theory flows in. Okay, now this is a typical part to do, but again, choice is always yours. The third can be that you can give them, my experience that giving a case beforehand may not be that effective. Like if you're not giving them a lengthy type of a case, it may not be that effective. People forget to bring the case to the class. I have a class this Thursday, then my class would be on next Monday, so things would wither away and whatnot. So if you've got a back-to-back class, say, yeah, I've got a class today, and then I have got a class tomorrow. So if you've got something as a back-to-back type of a class, then things would be better that if you give them something in advance to read. Then let's see that how many of they actually turn up reading on that thing. So as I told you, you can follow different ideologies. I've given them cases right there in the class and given them half an hour to say read. Okay, uh, provided the case length is not too big, because I always believe that life does not always allows you the luxury of time. So at times you might have just 10 minutes, you might just get 10-15 minutes from the boss that read this contract, and we are going to deal with the client. So this is the contract. I'm sorry, I forgot to send it. So what if the boss says sorry that you have to read it just now? That's what I'm saying. That train them in all methodologies, train them in all ways, so that they actually get into it. So at times, as I told you, a part of you're cutting down onto a part of case through video presentation, and then the maybe you're supplying them a half a page of important point written types, or the crux of case in half a page. So anything like this, any combination like this, which can sustain the interest of the students, do that. Okay. Again, based on availability of the time, the cases, and based on the course that you are teaching. Only few quick things for you. One, don't use too old a case. Okay, if I'm using a case of 2020, say 2013, 12 years down the line, many things have changed. The positions that are being mentioned in the case have changed, because Google is something which everyone keeps handy. So you have given some information to a student, and they would some of them would put it on Google, just to find out that how bad it would be that you are talking about a case of a company which is already shut down its operation. Okay, you are, say for example, you have given them a case of Ford India. So Ford India has already wrapped up their operations. So how bad would be that you're talking about this thing. Provided that you are talking about this strategy, that uh, what has happened wrong, what can be done good, and things like that. So if you're talking about something like this idea, then that's a different ideology. Otherwise, it's a waste of thing. So please check the facts of the case before you actually hand it over to them. Business scenarios are very dynamic. So for any given fact or figure, please, you're not talking to them in outdated type of a thing. So else they would get that feel that the case studies that my teacher gives me are completely outdated types, or they are irrelevant types. So think about it. You are teaching them a theory which they feel has got a disconnect from the practice. For introducing that practice, you are giving them a case study which is very old to that thing. So that's how things may not go on a very positive side of direction. So I've given you, tips, some of my tips that I followed with the students. Generally, we all struggle with where to find with good cases. Okay, so case specific case books, or maybe general ideas, general books which can give you on that thing. But why don't I would be coming on to this thing, that why don't you come up with your own edited book volume? I would pick up this point from what Suranjita ma'am was saying, and then I would go further with that. Anyone who has got a Harvard Business School account, HBS account, educator account, anyone from the August gathering who has got a HBS educator account? Oh, nonetheless. So if you don't have an HBS account, Google HBS educator account. You would get the link, fill up your details. Obviously, you would have a what should I say? You would have a website URL on your website which shows you as a faculty. So give them that URL. They would cross check, verify all your details. Once approved, they would give you an educator account. So through that, you can access not only say the Harvard. One second, please. Through this, you can not only access the Harvard case study or other Ivy League case studies, you can also get the teaching notes and other supplementary things also that would help you. Specifically, if you want to focus on Indian cases, then case centers, there are various case centers of many university. Kellogg's offers that. Many other newsletters they come in, which have got this thing, like say Boston University Library. I've given you this link. So many other, Western university have got so-called chair of Indian studies. So therein you can find that how different practices are followed by Indian businesses. So even in Harvard also and other things also, you can find there are case studies being published. E-Gyan Kosh library, you can use research kits, other IIMs, they allow you case accesses. Many other universities, even in India also and abroad also, they allow you during through their faculty publication, they allow you the full page case studies, they allow you for free access. So you can use that also. Now I would focus, another 5 minutes, I would focus on how you can, develop your own case studies, or if you can collaborate with some people and you can develop that idea. So I would not get into that detail, but I would give you a brief idea about it. One, it can be your own experience. So if you're writing a case based on your own experience, then please make sure that um, that you're highly unbiased. Okay, you're not trying to paint the picture in a certain way. If something might have happened, like say for example, we all might have shifted a job, so you want to tell that what was good in that institution, or why people leave from that institution. Don't try to paint the picture. Okay, because somebody would be reading it, and don't try to paint the picture on that thing. uh, Almost all good case journals would need that thing, that you declare that wherein you have got this case study done. So it's hugely advisable that you once you have get the case study written, or once you have written the case study, if you're writing it with some primary and secondary data input, especially some primary data input, once you've written that case study, send it to the company people before you actually get it published somewhere. That is requirement number one, and obtain their explicit permission to use that thing. If you are using entirely based on the secondary data, which is available to any public media, you just are compiling to make it a case study, you need not to do that. You need to mention all the resources, okay, from where in form of references, from where you have collected this information. So if you want to get a case published, so either one way is that you can pick it up, since I'm a reviewer also with case focus journals, so you can pick it either with some good journals, or you can come up with your own edited version of book. Okay, like Suranjita ma'am was telling. So if possible, try and see that if possible, can you come up with, you can compile all those case experiences, and can you come up with a book for others to refer to, like for other batches to refer to. Plus you would get a publication credit also. So can you do something like that, where you are exclusively, because we all face a crunch specifically of an Indian cases. So you fix up a lens that say from 1 page to 6 page, not beyond 6 page, from 1 page to 5 page or something like that. You can pick up, make it a multi disciplinary type of a book, and case book, and though focused on an area, but make it a multidisciplinary type of a thing, and then, or maybe focused on an area, and then get the inputs, the faculty to write, 2 or 3 faculties from different institution. You say you're publishing 10 or 12 cases, so books are very easy these days to get published also. So you can try that also. Or as I told you, if you're using a primary data, then it's must that you, even if the somebody may not be asking, but it's must that before you get it published, please get the things done, like get the formal permission from someone in the organization that okay, this is what it would be like, okay, before you send them for formal publication. Third thing, all good case journals would need that you have actually taught this case before it being sent to them for publication. Like say draft one, draft two, you have already taught to, and it's always good practice that you take a feedback from the students, in the sense that was and to what extent they were able to understand the cases. Say I want to take a case and I want to point certain issues, but probably students are not getting that issue, or they were misguided on something like that. So I can rectify all such type of things. I can maybe I have asked a question um, which is a very leading type of a question. Okay, so I could have sounded more neutral in that sense. So I can use all this feedback to improve my case. And because you have to give in declaration that how many or what all batches this was taught at. Okay, so it's always better that you actually teach, or actually use this case in your teaching and then get it published. The fifth and last thing about when you are trying to make up your own cases and get it published in some good journals, if edited book, I already told you that please make sure that you are very focused, because you have to give along with that thing a teaching note also. You have to prepare, almost all journals would like to get you give that you give them a teaching note also. So get that format first, fill in that, that would give you a strong idea as to what all can be done, or what all can I do with the case study, what all information is the journal wanting me to do. And then only step into a case study. If you want to write your own case study, I would strongly motivate you that you must give it a try. Okay, because through that thing it would not be only good to you, it would be good to many other people also, that they would use your case study to teach some of the student. Somebody would be struggling with finding out with cases, so probably next time you add up to this source, your edited book or your case publication added to this on sources. The credit that you would get for research and publication, that's an add-on to that thing. So in a larger interest of, you can talk this case, similar cases, you would feel good that students are reading your own case. That would be a very good example to portray even in front of students also, that they would be very happy that our own faculty is teaching, or is teaching us a case which he or she has developed on her own, and she has published it in a very reputed journal, and now it is being taught to us. So that's all from my end when it comes to case or case study methodology or ideas like this. If you have got any questions to maybe, if you have any questions that you would like to ask me, any observations you would like to put in with me, you are most welcome to do that. The forum is open now. Yes, Narmada ma'am, please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Good evening to everybody, and thank you for today's lecture. I teach in the philosophy department, so largely our discipline is very abstract. And so I was just thinking, how can we develop a case study method
Hmm.
in a discipline like philosophy, where there is so much of a disciplinary gap between thinking and doing?
Hmm. So, can you fill in this gap with some case studies? There would, I do agree with you, ma'am, that the philosophy is a discipline of a different idea altogether. It's not 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 types. Okay, it can be anything like. So, my idea is teaching is that in even in an abstract science, okay,
Hmm.
there can be some general guideline principles, maybe. Okay, or maybe you can talk about the student that, okay, see, this is what has been done in this type of a situation, so this was the outcome. Can you suggest an alternate, maybe an alternate method to this?
Like, if say we are teaching students to think,
Yes.
and we are
Design thinking is
guiding them
fine.
towards a certain way of thinking,
Absolutely.
so how do we actually, for instance, say I want to employ the case study method?
Okay, great. So
Would
what
I?
you can do, ma'am? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, please.
What you can do, ma'am, in a fairly simple way, like say
Mhm.
you want to talk about critical thinking,
Hmm. Hmm.
okay, or you want to talk about a new realm has come up, that is design thinking.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay, so you can give them a problem, and then you can talk about this thing, that if you could have solved it with a linear thinking pattern or a lateral thinking, linear
Hmm.
thinking pattern,
Hmm.
then this
Hmm.
would lead to this.
Okay.
Okay, A would lead to B. Okay, because this would have been a clear cut solution, okay, to most of our minds, and this is what it was done also. But if you apply design thinking principles, or if you apply critical thinking ideology, then
Hmm.
what would be alternate type of things that you can develop?
So, if I were to locate it within the case types that you
Yep.
have identified, can
Hmm.
that then come under problem solution, or would it come
See,
under?
that can come under, ma'am, problem solution. That can come under a success failure type of a
It
thing.
could also
It
be
can
close and open.
absolutely. It can be anything that, ma'am, you have just given them a case, and then they are trying to identify an issue, that, okay, this is what I believe. Let them get this idea that this is actually a problem related to the pattern of thinking of the person. You're getting my point, ma'am?
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, see, if you're talking design thinking, or if you're talking about critical thinking, you can pick up
Hmm.
examples even from businesses,
Hmm. Hmm.
because after all decisions are based on certain thoughts.
Yeah, of course, in philosophy, if we look at the field of ethics, or we look at, for instance,
Absolutely, absolutely,
philosophy of
absolutely.
law, and I mean,
Yes,
they
justice
do.
and what not.
We
Absolutely.
do, but I'm just wondering, if we look at, like, you just mentioned justice right now, and
Yep.
we are dealing with a lot of concepts like that, which
Hmm. Hmm.
we don't know whether these concepts. I mean, there is the controversy
Hmm.
whether theory comes from practice or whether practice comes from
Practice
theory.
comes from theory. Agreed. But, ma'am, in general,
Hmm,
if I have to give you a word for this, I
hmm,
have been, grown up with this idea that
hmm.
uh, theories are not wrong.
Okay.
Okay, and let me, allow me another 1 minute to
Hmm,
speak on this idea, that why do
hmm,
I make this statement that theories are not wrong? Because a practice can't decide the rightness of the theory. You're right on this thing, that today's theory may be tomorrow's practice, or today's practice may become tomorrow's theory. Theories may have their own limitation of that variable limitations, that in practical situation we have got n number of variables, that we may not be able to explain all those variables in theories. So regarding applicability of theory, you can put a question mark, agreed. But you cannot reject the theory saying that no, this theory is not applicable, this theory is a farce, this theory is wrong on that thing. Even if that is happening, ma'am,
Mm,
then the idea with which this theory was put, say, 100 years ago,
mm,
okay, what was the circumstantial things which when
mm,
this theories
mm,
was given, say,
mm,
100 or 200 years ago, and
mm.
what are the circumstances now? So what is the differences, and how these theories or differences have evolved to make it a practice, how
Okay, if
practice have evolved to make
mm,
in concept of practical application of this theory.
So, would it be okay? I agree with the fact that no theory can be either disregarded or no theory can be rejected. But can we say that theories are inadequate? And if we say that theories are inadequate, then
Mhm.
to show that, can this method apply?
Absolutely, this can apply, ma'am. Like, say, for example, say a principle that was applicable in organizational working, say, in 1885, say, for example.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay. So today, you may not find it too relevant to talk about. Okay.
Hmm.
But this doesn't. So, what is then the relevance of teaching any history, for example, history of any subject, or how the genesis of any subject, to show students this idea that how things have evolved in this field? Point number one. Point
Hmm.
number two,
Hmm.
that you must appreciate, again I would re-emphasize
Hmm.
on my same
Hmm.
point, that you must appreciate that
Hmm.
during that period of time,
Hmm.
this was the existing, these were the existing conditions, and because of this existing condition, this theory was propounded.
Hmm. Hmm.
So since this underlying situations have changed, the applicability also has become a question mark.
Mhm. Okay.
I hope I'm able to
Yes.
put my
Yes.
point to you now.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much. Okay, somebody has asked me this question, that can I repeat the part about Harvard? So what does Harvard business account would entail is that you can get signed up yourself for a Harvard educator account, or so Google it, Harvard educator account. You would get the link. Provide your details. Provide the URL, especially where you are, shown as a faculty of that institution. They would examine it. Once they are satisfied that yes, you are a faculty, they would give you an access to educator account. It is as simple as this. Yes. Any
Hello.
further question? Yes. Yes, please, sir.
Hello. Good
Yes. Yes.
evening.
Yes. Good evening, sir.
I want to know that in humanities and linguistics, how can we apply case study?
Sir, in linguistics, again, can you give me an example for that? Say what is it that you are teaching?
Hindi.
हिंदी. ग्रेट सर. सो हिंदी में सर, जैसे आप उनको तुलसी पढ़ा रहे हैं, मीरा पढ़ा रहे हैं, या जो भी उनको आप पढ़ा रहे हैं उसमें से कई बार क्या होता है सर कि इनका जो लिखा हुआ है या वो है, मतलब जैसे आप उसका इक्विवेलेंट आप कुछ पढ़ा रहे हैं, जैसे आपने मान लीजिए कोई अलंकार पढ़ा है, या आपने कोई, आप यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इन एनी टाइप ऑफ मेटाफोरिकल थिंग्स टू देम, जैसे उसका संरचना आप समझा रहे हैं या कुछ भी, तो आप उसका इक्विवेलेंट एग्जांपल आपने ले लिया, दैट मे बी से मैथिली शरण आप पढ़ा रहे हैं, तो उसका इक्विवेलेंट आपने एक एग्जांपल ले लिया, दैट हाउ अबाउट दिस एज एन आइडिया, दैट डू वुड यू एग्री विद दिस थिंग, दैट ये जो अलंकार का पैटर्न है, या ये जो है, ये इस कविता में कैसे देखने को मिल रहा है? सो दे वुड,
Yes.
सो मतलब उनको क्या होगा सर कि दैट वुड ओपन देयर होराइजंस आल्सो. सबसे बड़ी जो प्रॉब्लम वी टीच एज ए टीचर दैट वी फेस इन दिस जनरेशन इज द रीडिंग हैबिट्स. तो अगर आपको अपना पॉइंट उसको और उसको सिंप्लीफाई करना है, तो आप उसको एक और एग्जांपल आपने दे दिया उसको, तो उससे वो सीख गया कि हाँ यार, व्हेन दिस कैन बी अनदर एप्लीकेशन. मतलब अलंकार या भाषा की ये जो शैली है, सिर्फ ऐसे ही यूज नहीं की जा सकती, ऐसे भी यूज की जा सकती है जो इन कवि ने या इन साहित्यकार ने ऐसे यूज करी है. तो दिस कैन बी अनदर वे दैट आई कैन यूज द स्टाइल ऑफ लैंग्वेज, द सिमिलर स्टाइल
Yes.
ऑफ लैंग्वेज. ऐसे करके सर यू कैन फिगर आउट एप्लीकेशंस ऑन दैट.
And what is the matter will be useful for the student of literature?
सर सेम सिमिलर मैटर मतलब आप जिस लिटरेचर पढ़ाएं या आप किसी भी उसमें पढ़ाएं सर, मैं वही बोल रहा हूँ, डिपेंडिंग ऑन द एप्लीकेशन कि आप उसको क्या एप्लीकेशन, सर केस स्टडी में बहुत सिंपल सा आइडिया होता है दैट व्हाट इज द टाइप ऑफ what is the objective that you are teaching this idea with. That's most
Yes.
important thing you need to understand when you are talking about a case study. What is my objective of teaching that, what would this case study or how would this case help the students? What is the additional thing that I would, am I not trying to replace theory with practice? No, don't do this. Okay. So if,
Yes.
case study should add on to the practice. So based on your thing, you may not find a case like this. Okay. There may not be, say, for example, there may not be a direct case to based on your subject. Say, for example, sir, you are talking about literature. There may not be a case directly. But what if you develop a case ideology or you develop a case practice on that thing, that, this is how these two are different, or this is how this is another application of the same thing, or this is how it has been done differently. Take it as an example. Okay, so they read it, then they, give them an analysis that how can you compare these two things, or can you differentiate between these two things, or what is the common factor between these two things, something which is not very usually taught to them. So that is how
Yes.
probably, Yogesh sir, I believe that you can do, a great help to the students of literature.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir. And probably tomorrow, Yogesh sir, you may, bring up your own book on this thing, that how, this case application books in literature. So it would
Yes.
definitely help, hundreds of students, sir.
ये तो है कि देखो, आपने बहुत अच्छा आइडिया बताया कि किसी भी साहित्यकार के आधार पर, क्योंकि अध्ययन तो होता वैसे ही है और ये
जी,
और भी ज्यादा
बिल्कुल।
सरल हो गया। लेकिन ये हो जाता है
जी,
कि जैसे कई बार हमें अलग अलग ग्रुप के, जैसे एज लिमिट समझ लो, या फिर
एग्रीड।
जिनकी माइंड आईक्यू लेवल भिन्न भिन्न है, उस पर
जी,
थोड़ी कई
जी।
बार डिफिकल्ट पड़ती है।
सर कई बार
तो
क्या
मैं
होता है, सर योगेश सर, कई बार क्या होता है कि आप अपनी केस को ना बिल्कुल स्पेसिफिक बना सकते हैं कि दिस कैन बी टॉट ओनली टू से अंडर ग्रेजुएट लेवल, बीए फर्स्ट ईयर का
जी।
बच्चा ही ये पढ़ सकता है. Okay, this is not applicable for MA first year. So, for MA,
यस।
you can use a different type of an example. For BA first year type of thing, you can use a different example. You can develop actually multiple cases or
हाँ सर।
multiple books. तो वो आप बिल्कुल कर सकते हैं सर, क्योंकि टीचिंग नोट में, केस टीचिंग नोट में आपको देना पड़ता है कि किस लेवल पर आप बच्चा ये कौन से सब्जेक्ट में और किस लेवल का बच्चा ये पढ़ेगा.
जी।
जी, जी सर.
ठीक है, धन्यवाद श्रीमान जी।
धन्यवाद सर, धन्यवाद सर. Yes, anyone, any further questions, or shall I hand over the further proceedings to Neha ma'am? And before I do that, thank you very much for your patient listening and participation. Uh, uh, Once again, thanks to RFI, Saurabh Jain sir, Ajay Jain sir, and Neha ma'am especially. And this all has been coordinated very well by uh, Yogesh ji. So thank you very much. Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank
Uh,
you, sir.
Narmada ma'am, which case study method are you looking forward to? See, most of this case study methods are like, they would be very subject specific like this. You can find a comprehensive cases on management, or specifically on functional areas of management, on different areas of this thing. But if you're looking for that one, say, uh, suffice all types, that because see, I to give you an examples, ma'am, that if I'm talking project management, so I can talk the engineering part of project management, or I can talk the management part of it. In management, I can talk finance part of project management. So what, or a per CPM I'm talking about, so what exactly I'm talking about, or from which angle I want to look at that this project. Okay, so that is where I'm talking of project in terms of operations. So the same project can be talked in various ideas of various. So I give another example, another 1 minute. I give another example that we are. I talked to students regarding Delhi Metro project. Okay, I've given this under operations. So, which part of where you would like the students to focus upon? Again, the engineering part, the management part, the project management part, the per CPM part. Which part exactly you want to talk about in that entirely Delhi Metro project? How it was developed as in a common layman language, that would be entirely different. Okay, if I'm talking general development of Delhi Metro, that would be different. So that would have all inputs. If I'm talking very specifically in terms of only engineering, then my entire content and delivery would be different. So you have to look at from that idea, ma'am. Hope I have answered you, ma'am.
So if I think I can get it right. So what you're saying is that it is very, it's both context specific. It
Absolutely, ma'am.
is it is also subject specific. It is
Absolutely.
also specific with regard to what one is intending to study.
To study. Absolutely right, ma'am. And in which context do you want to use this case study?
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. So over to you, Neha, ma'am.
Yes,
Taken
sir.
enough of your time. Over to you, Neha, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, all my colleagues who have spared their valuable time for me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So, as we conclude today's session, we would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to all participants for their valuable contributions. A special acknowledgement goes to esteemed speaker Dr. Shesh Chabra sir for sharing his invaluable insights with us. And sir has delivered numerous sessions on this platform, and each time he presents topic in the simplest and most effective manner, and often incorporating excellent videos also. So it is truly commendable that how innovatively and patiently he delves into each topic and ensuring our participants gain a comprehensive understanding. Thank you so much, Chabra sir,
Thank
and
you, Neha,
we
ma'am. Thank you for your kind words.
and we also extend our sincere gratitude to the organizing committee and all our generous sponsors for their support in making this activity possible. So, with that, we conclude this program. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to all my participating colleagues. Thank you very
Thank you
much.
all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
sir
you,
and
sir. Thank
ma'am.
you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.